Have you ever tried to lose weight so badly that you would do almost anything? Now imagine living in a time when society demanded that women look as thin, delicate, and perfect as possible, and you had no modern health knowledge or safe options. For centuries, women went to shocking, even life-threatening extremes just to achieve a body type that the world told them was beautiful. From drinking vinegar by the glass, swallowing deadly poisons, chewing every bite hundreds of times until it turned into mush, and even deliberately ingesting parasites, the lengths women took to lose weight will leave you speechless. Today, we're diving deep into history to explore the strangest, wildest, and most dangerous diets women have ever followed. Some will make you cringe, others will make you grateful you live in a time with real nutrition science, but all of them reveal just how much pressure women have always faced to live up to impossible beauty standards. In the early 1800s, a dangerous weight loss obsession swept across high society in Europe, all thanks to one influential man, the famous British poet Lord Byron. Byron was known not only for his poetry but also for his vanity and fear of gaining weight. He invented a diet that women soon adopted, and it was as unpleasant as it was unhealthy. Women began drinking glasses of vinegar mixed with water daily, believing it would purify the body and melt fat. Some ate only small pieces of bread or dry biscuits, while others survived on boiled potatoes soaked in vinegar. The diet didn't just make women thin, it made many of them pale, faint, and perpetually sick-looking. But the madness didn't stop there. To sweat out even more weight, women would wear multiple layers of thick wool clothing, even in warm weather. And because the diet left them constantly hungry, some smoked cigars to suppress their appetite, something women rarely did at the time. What's shocking is that this diet spread quickly through upper-class society. Women wanted to be as elegant and thin as the admired poet, and fainting from weakness was even seen as feminine and desirable. By the 19th century, many women still desperately wanted an easy fix for weight loss, and that led to the rise of diet pills and tonics. But these weren't harmless supplements. Many contained arsenic and strychnine, poisons that could kill you. Advertisements in magazines promised that these pills would speed up metabolism and burn fat without effort. Women who felt pressured to stay slim often took more than the recommended dose, hoping to lose weight faster. Sadly, some of them never realized how dangerous this was until it was too late. What's even more disturbing is that these products were marketed as glamorous. Women were told that taking them was sophisticated and modern. But behind the advertising, the truth was grim. Countless women damaged their health, and some even died, simply because they were chasing an impossible ideal. Imagine sitting at a dinner table and chewing one bite of food 100 times before you swallow it. That was the reality for many women in the late 1800s, thanks to a man named Horace Fletcher, known as the Great Masticator. Fletcher believed that proper chewing was the secret to a perfect figure. He taught that women should chew every bite of food until it turned into a tasteless liquid, no matter how long it took. This practice became known as Fletcherism, and it spread rapidly. For women who were already under pressure to eat less, this diet became a form of torture. Meals took forever, and by the time the food was swallowed, it was unappealing and cold. Many women ended up eating far less than they needed, becoming dangerously thin and malnourished. But because Fletcher's ideas were presented as scientific, women followed them blindly. They believed that enduring this misery was the price of beauty. Before the words low carb became popular in modern diets, there was Banting. In the mid-1800s, a man named William Banting published a pamphlet describing how he lost weight by cutting out bread, potatoes, sugar, and beer. The pamphlet became a sensation, especially among women. They saw it as a way to stay slim without starving. But the diet was incredibly restrictive. Many women barely ate any carbohydrates at all, living mostly on meat, eggs, and small amounts of fruit. It became so popular that Banting became a verb. Women who were refusing bread or cakes would say, "No thanks, I'm banting." The pressure to avoid carbs became part of social life, and young women felt judged if they ate too much at public events. In the 1830s, Minister Sylvester Graham believed rich, flavorful foods made people sinful. He claimed that meats, butter, and spices awakened dangerous passions, so he encouraged women to eat only plain, bland foods. His followers, called Grammites, avoided anything that tasted good. Meals consisted of dry, whole-grain bread, fruits, and vegetables without seasoning. Meat and dairy were completely banned. Women adopted this diet, believing it would make them morally pure and physically clean. But in reality, it left them thin, weak, and constantly hungry. Graham even invented the famous graham cracker as a bland food for his followers, though the sweet version we know today would have horrified him. In the 1950s, a period when slim figures were considered the height of feminine beauty, Women were encouraged to adopt all sorts of questionable habits in the name of weight control. One of the more unusual suggestions came from a widely circulated newspaper article that proposed drinking a glass of sherry after every meal as part of a chic weight control plan. The theory behind it was deceptively simple. Alcohol, it was believed, would dull the appetite and lead to smaller portions. Yet in truth, sherry added nothing but empty calories, lacking any nutritional value. Many women, trusting the trend, began drinking more than was ever intended, believing that each sip was a step toward elegance and a slimmer waistline. Instead, the practice harmed their health and even led to dependence in some cases. Despite its dangers, the sherry diet quickly became associated with sophistication. Holding a glass of fine wine at the dinner table was seen as glamorous, a ritual of refinement in an age when women were pressured to appear effortlessly poised. Sadly, behind the polished image was a diet that did little more than damage the body it claimed to perfect. Centuries earlier, in 1558, Venetian nobleman Luigi Coronaro published one of the very first diet books, a work that would influence health trends for generations. In his writings, Coronaro preached that longevity and a slender figure could be achieved through strict moderation. His regimen was strikingly austere: eat only tiny portions of food, sometimes no more than a single egg a day, but drink generous amounts of wine. Coronaro himself claimed to be living proof of the method's success, boasting of renewed vitality and a life free of illness. His message appealed particularly to women who were often judged by the delicacy of their appearance. The promise of eternal youth through such a simple formula was too tempting to resist, but the reality was far less glamorous. Drinking more calories in wine than one consumed through food led to malnutrition and frailty. Many women who adopted Cornaro's plan became weak and sickly, yet the allure of his promises kept the diet alive for decades. At a time when medical understanding was limited, Cornaro's book became a staple in households across Europe, a reminder that even centuries ago, the pursuit of beauty often came at the expense of health. By the mid-20th century, the pressure on women to remain slim had reached unsettling extremes, giving rise to one of the most disturbing weight loss fads of all time, the sleeping beauty diet. The premise was as troubling as it was simple. If you were unconscious, you couldn't eat. Women desperate to shed pounds began taking powerful sedatives to keep themselves asleep for days at a time. Some checked into private clinics where they were intentionally drugged into extended periods of slumber, waking only briefly before being put under again. Others attempted the method at home, often with little understanding of dosage or safety, swallowing dangerous amounts of medication in the hope that the scale would reward their efforts. Although weight loss did occur, it came at an enormous cost. Prolonged immobility led to muscle atrophy and weakened immune systems, while the drugs themselves posed serious risks of overdose and addiction. Yet for a time, the sleeping beauty diet was spoken of in hushed, almost glamorous tones, as though the price of endangering one's health was a small sacrifice for achieving the coveted thinness of the era. In the 1920s and 30s, when advertising was becoming a powerful force in shaping consumer behavior, companies seized on the insecurities of women desperate to stay slim. One of the more unusual products marketed at the time was so-called Fatmelting Soap. Advertisements promised that by simply scrubbing the body in a warm bath, women could literally wash away unwanted fat, no dieting or exercise required. The idea was as appealing as it was absurd. Weight loss without sacrifice was the ultimate dream, and the soaps flew off store shelves despite having no scientific basis whatsoever. Many women, disillusioned by the failure of diets or lacking the time for exercise, clung to the hope that a daily bath could reshape their figures. Of course, the products did nothing beyond cleaning the skin, but clever marketing and glamorous packaging made them seem like small miracles in a bar. If the notion of fat-melting soap seemed implausible, the tapeworm diet of the Victorian era was outright horrifying. Women were rumoured to swallow pills that contained microscopic tapeworm eggs, believing the parasites would hatch, settle in their intestines, and eat their food for them, thus keeping them slim without effort. While some of these pills were outright scams, others did contain live organisms. The results were catastrophic. Once the worms matured, they caused severe malnutrition, internal blockages, and life-threatening infections. Yet the promise of effortless thinness was so powerful that many women were willing to gamble with their health and lives. Even more shocking was the difficulty of removing the parasites once they had taken hold. In an era with limited medical treatments, the cure could be as dangerous as the infestation itself. The tapeworm diet remains one of the most disturbing examples of how far people have gone in the name of beauty, sacrificing their well-being for the illusion of a smaller waistline. In the 1920s, cigarette companies ran shocking ad campaigns telling women to smoke instead of eating. "Reach for a lucky instead of a sweet," the slogan said. Women lit up to suppress their appetites, believing it would help them stay slim and glamorous. Sadly, many became addicted and suffered serious health consequences. The 1970s brought perhaps the most grotesque diet in history. Dr. Robert Lynn sold a drink called Prolin, made from ground-up slaughterhouse animal remains. Women were told to drink it daily to lose weight. Dozens of people died from heart attacks while on this diet, but that didn't stop others from buying it until it was finally banned. Looking back, it's shocking how far women have gone in the name of beauty. From poisons to parasites, tasteless foods to starvation, these diets reveal just how dangerous society's obsession with thinness has been through the ages. Which of these historical diets do you think was the worst? Can you imagine chewing every bite 100 times or drinking vinegar every day just to be thin? History has shown us that beauty standards change, but our health is far too precious to gamble with.